White House denies gathering of global elites is a gathering of global elites. When the White House announced earlier this week that Donald Trump would attend the World Economic Forum's 48th annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, the news was met primarily with confusion. "It's not his constituency," Ian Bremmer told me about the crowd, which is regularly composed of people who make millionaires look poor. Internationally, he's very unpopular. In addition to enjoying swanky chalet dinners whose budgets regularly run into the millions and parties that involve five-figure bottles of wine and imported models, Davos attendees are also expressly interested in working together to improve the state of the world, which is spelled out in the W.E.F's mission statement. But don't tell that to the Trump administration. Now that the big guy has confirmed that he, and basically his entire cabinet, will be in attendance, the base mustn't get wind of the forum's proceedings lest it conclude that the president, who hails from a literally golden penthouse, is not as much of an economic populist as he has made himself out to be. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Treasury Secretary Steve Money Model Mnuchin positively bristled at the notion that Davos is some kind of schmooze fest that runs counter to Trump's America First, screw everyone else agenda. "I don't think it's a hangout for globalists," Mnuchin said, using former senior advisor Steve Bannon's favorite insult. "I think the idea is that the economic team will go over and talk about the America First economic strategy. As for the notion that Team Trump will do anything at the confab besides threaten a trade war with China and tell Canada to take its hugs and shove them," Mnuchin told the group, "I can assure you that the members of his cabinet have no interest in going over there and rubbing elbows with anybody. This is about meeting business leaders." It's not clear whether Mnuchin has laid out these ground rules to the rest of the delegation, which happens to include Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, who was recently accused of vastly inflating his net worth and who seems like the very type to elbow rub. In addition to Ross and Mnuchin, the delegation includes Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Secretary of Labor Alex Acosta, Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry, Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, Assistant to the President for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism Thomas Bossert, Administrator of the U.S. Agency for International Development Mark Green, Commissioner of Food and Drugs Scott Gottlieb, and, of course, First Son-in-Law Jared Kushner. National Economic Council Director Gary Cohn will also be in attendance but not in an official capacity. It's unclear if Cohn will therefore be required to fly on his own dime, or to book a room on Airbnb. Incidentally, Davos happens to be a teeny-tiny village with a limited number of accommodations, meaning that the price of hotel rooms skyrockets during the forum. Presumably, Team Trump has already worked out the matter of lodging, but given its propensity to forget such details, it's possible that cabinet members will be bunking three to a bed that has 300 to 400 count sheets max, because they want no part in any of this globalist elitism, which is not what Davos is about, on the off chance you heard otherwise. If you would like to receive the Levin Report in your inbox daily, click here to subscribe. Oops, the IRS is in no way prepared to implement Trump's big tax revamp/taxes first. Worry about the fact that the agency currently employs neither a full-time commissioner nor permanent chief counsel, has had its training budget cut by 75% since 2009, needs about $500 million in order to implement the new law, which is teeming with loopholes just begging to be exploited, and, according to its own taxpayer advocate, only plans to answer 60% of taxpayer calls during the filing season. Later. Private equity giant, don't invest with companies that may employ sexual predators, because you might lose money. The aforementioned concerns can impact a company's bottom line, result in termination of top talent, and otherwise impair brand, PE giant Kohlberg Kravis Roberts, wrote in a report to clients. In this environment, there is no easy hedge. Rather, investors must carefully assess company culture, risk management practices, and personnel risks. Trump, Mexico will indirectly pay for the wall. They can pay for it indirectly through NAFTA, Trump said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal in what sounded like a sad attempt to convince himself. We make a good deal on NAFTA, and, say, "I'm going to take a small percentage of that money and it's going toward the wall." Guess what? Mexico's paying. Whatever helps you sleep at night, hombre. Corporate giant gives out tax bill bonuses, lays off thousands of workers. Strangely, the White House did not have anything to say about the latter. On Thursday morning, Walmart announced it was raising its starting hourly wage to $11, expanding parental leave policies, and issuing one-time cash bonuses to both its part-time and full-time workers. Hours later, the company confirmed that it was also shuttering at least 63 of its Sam's Club stores, laying off thousands of workers in the process. During Thursday's White House briefing, Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders ignored questions about the massive round of layoffs. She chose instead to praise President Trump for signing the GOP tax bill, which lowers the corporate tax rate from 35% to only 21%, a move that, she said, inspired the company's decision to raise wages. Elsewhere. Why Wall Street hasn't had its #Me Too moment yet, Bloomberg and alleged theft of $1 billion fund grips ETF world. WSJ Trump renews call for internet tax, making a veiled threat against Amazon. CNBC Steve Cohen loses another top trader before hedge fund launches. Bloomberg Bitcoin plunges as South Korea crafts crypto crackdown. WSJ Bitcoin conference refuses Bitcoin payments. NYP Ackman's Pershing Square fund to slash management fee. NYP carrier lays off more than 200 from Indianapolis factory a year after Trump deal. Associated Press restaurant and oppose pizza shames and oppose workers who burn pies. UPI follow to get the latest news and analysis about the players in your inbox.